Show me where your heart is. I just gotta know that one thing's for sure, it's done in the dark. It's guaranteed to come to light. So let's deal with it. Shalom, 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 shalom. Welcome back to our Wednesday morning brew. Our Wednesday morning brew, your boy, House of B'Nei Ysrayl. As I sit here and reflect on my life, all the things I've seen in my experiences, all through the years of growing up, the times I spent in school, miseducating me, they always paint a rosy picture. It seems as though everything with ill intention always got a pretty face, seems to always come my way. Now I know demons been lurking, they trying to take over my life. They be the ones that's in front of your eyes. You know we start at 9 a.m. on the dot. Shalom, shalom, y'all. Welcome to our Wednesday morning brew. One thing's for sure, it's done in the dark. It's guaranteed to come to light. So let's deal with it. We are in the Book of Jasher. The Book of Jasher. Are we in the Book of Jasher? Good morning. Good morning. Grand Rising. I see through you with spiritual light. There are some people that get up on being chaotic. They live a life with wrong instructions. Living out the gate. Shalom, shalom. They're reduced to weeping, gnashing of teeth. You're in the Book of Jasher. The Book of Jasher. Using the word deceitfully to protect their own insecurity. Then be the first one to always want to cast a stone. You would think that they'd never ever do wrong. Oh, what a wicked generation. We love to mingle with the other nations. A foolish mindset, unstable in the heart, they emotional. They always wondering what you're doing. So in discord and confusion. Shalom, 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 shalom. Welcome back to our Wednesday morning brew. Welcome back to our Wednesday morning brew with your boy Yosef Ben Yisrael. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Shalom, shalom on YouTube. Shalom, shalom on Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook. All praises to the Most High. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Forgive me for not being here for the past two Wednesdays. I had some pressing business, but we are back with our Wednesday morning brew, y'all, and I am excited. I am excited for today's study. Shalom, 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 shalom on YouTube. I see you. All praise to the glory to the Most High. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Welcome to the House of B'Nei Ysrayl, where the children of the Most High dwell. We know who we are. We know who he made us to be, and we are rising from the ashes. Welcome to our Wednesday morning brew. We are on the Book of Jasher, the Book of Jasher. So grab your book, sit back, and let's talk. But upon entering the house, we say, how goodly are your tents, O Yacob, your habitations, O Israel. By thy abundant grace we enter thy house. We worship before thy holy presence with reverence, O Yahweh. We love thy abode, the place where thy glory dwells. We worship and bow down. We will bend the knee before Yahweh our Maker. We offer our prayer to thee, O Yahweh, at a time of grace. O Yahweh, thy abundant kindness, answer us with thy saving truth. And our Berakoth, Yahweh Elohim, make the words of thy Torah pleasant in our mouth and in the mouth of thy people, the house of Israel, so that we and our descendants and the descendants of thy people, the house of Israel, may all know thy name and study thy Torah for its own sake. Blessed art thou, Yahweh, who teaches the Torah to your people, Israel. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hope everybody slept well. We're back on our Wednesday morning brew. And today's study, we're on chapter 53. And I named it Bound Up. And you're going to see why in a second. Hallelujah. So chapter 53, let's read the first verse and then we'll go into the recap of this story. Hallelujah. And the sons of Yacob rose up and took Benjamin and the presence, and they went and came to Mitzrayim, and they stood before Joseph, or they stood before Joseph. So let's recap. In chapter 52, we saw how the famine overtook the land, and the Israelites ran out of food that they first retained from Egypt on their first trip there. Okay, Yacob's grandkids came to him crying of hunger, and Jacob's wife spoke with him concerning them perishing if he doesn't send Benjamin to Egypt with his brothers to appease the governor, who was actually Joseph, okay, who was sold into slavery by his brothers. Now, the 10 brothers have once again set out to journey to Egypt to get more food and get their brother back, who was thrown into the prison by Joseph until they returned. So Joseph made a trade before they left Egypt with the food. He said, I'm going to take Shimeon. Shalom, shalom. I'm going to take Shimeon. I'm going to put him in jail. I'm going to hold him until you bring back Benjamin as proof that you are not spies. Okay, as proof that you were not spies, but this was all something that Joseph was doing, and I'll explain that to you as well. So let's continue. And Joseph saw his brother Benjamin with them, and he greeted them. And these men came to Joseph's house. Stay with me. This is a short chapter. Okay. And Joseph commanded the one over his house to give to his brothers to eat, and he did so for them. Remember, Canaan is not that far from Egypt. Okay, Canaan is not that far from Egypt. It's like, actually, I believe it's in Egypt, but like on the borderline of it. Okay, eating with an official of Egypt was a high honor. Okay, that most lay people didn't receive. Okay, they didn't receive it. They weren't allowed to partake of that. Joseph was testing his brothers to see where their hearts were. Okay, to see where their hearts were, if they were still the same or changed. Stay with me. Time often tells where a person's heart is. And Joseph still harbored the pain of what they did to him in his heart, causing him to be away from his father and little brother, probably hurt more than he would like to speak of. And he needed to be released from this pain. Joseph still loved his brothers, and he wanted them to be a part of his life, but there's no longer young children, and they're no longer young children. Shalom, shalom. And he has grown up to be a man without them. Joseph needed to forgive them for his sake. Joseph needed, listen, sometimes there are people that are in our life that we need to forgive for our sake. All right. Joseph needed to forgive them for his sake, and they needed his forgiveness for theirs. Just stay with me on this. Okay. And at noon, Joseph sent for the men to come before him with Benjamin. And the men told the one over Joseph's house concerning the silver that was returned in their sacks. And he said to them, it will be well with you. Fear not. And he brought their brother Shimon to them. And Shimon said to his brothers, the master of the Mitzrayites, or the Egyptians, has acted very kindly to me. He did not keep me bound. He did not keep me bound, as you saw with your eyes. For when you went out from the city, he let me free and dealt kindly with me in his house. Shalom, shalom. The son of Yacob had to be wondering. The sons of Yacob had to be wondering for the year that they were away from Shimeon, how he was being treated, and if he was even still alive. Shimeon said, he did not keep me bound. I was no longer bound, as you saw with your eyes. But when you went out from the city, he let me free. People may see you in trouble. They may see you going through trials and tribulations. They may see you at your worst. But what they don't know is when the Most High is going to change your situation. The minute they walk away, Yahweh is working it out for your good. The minute they walk away, your binds will come off. The minute they walk away, you will be freed. Free from the prison, free from the chains, free from the boundaries, and will be allowed in the house of royalty to be treated like a king or queen, a special guest that is allowed the luxuries due to you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let's continue on with this. And Yehuda took Benjamin by the hand And they came before Joseph, and they bowed down to him to the ground. Now, this is Joseph's dreams once again showing itself. Genesis 37, Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him all the more. He said to them, listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves, shalom, we were binding sheaves of grain out in the field when suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. His brothers said to him, do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Now they're here in Egypt because the famine has touched their land and they are in need of grain. Do y'all see that? This is his dream. They are in need of grain in which Joseph is in control of. And because of who Joseph is, they are minded to lay castrate before him. They are bowed down before him, not realizing who he actually is as of yet. Hallelujah. It says, and the men gave the present to Joseph, and they all sat before him. And Joseph said to them, is it well with you? Is it well with your children? Is it well with your aged father? And they said, it is well. And Yehuda took the record with Yacob had sent and gave it to the hand of Joseph. And Joseph read the letter and knew his father's writing, and he wanted to weep, and he went into an inner room and he wept a great weeping, and he went out. This is Joseph seeing the writings, knowing that this is the writings of his father. See chapter 52. In chapter 52, Yacob sent a letter with them. He sent a letter with them, kind of explaining to the governor the whole situation and what happened, and how he lost Joseph, and how he still mourns for him. And now Joseph is reading these very words from his father. It says, and Joseph read the letter, and he knew his father's writing, and he wanted to weep, and he went into an inner room, and he wept, and a great weeping, and he went out. It's not unmanly to cry. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, and he said, is this your brother of whom you spoke to me? And Benjamin approached Joseph, and Joseph placed his hand on his head, and he said to him, may Elohim show favor to you, my son. But when Joseph saw his brothers, the son of his mother, he again wanted to weep, and he entered. This is showing the pain that Joseph still has in his heart for all those years of what happened to him. And he washed his face, and he went out and refrained from weeping, and he said, prepare food. To put up this facade for Joseph had to be hard. He had been thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, beaten, accused of rape, thrown into prison, only to have his binds released and becoming the second most powerful man in Egypt. This is supposed to be a joyous time for him, but things aren't quite finished yet. Some things still need to be sorted out, and the test has a final action that needs to be instituted. Stay with me. Joseph had a cup from which he drank, and it was of silver splendidly inlaid with shoham stones and bdellium. And Joseph struck the cup in the sight of his brothers while they were sitting to eat with him. And Joseph said to the men, I know by this cup that Reuben, the firstborn, Shimeon and Levi, and Yehuda and Issachar and Zebulun are children from one mother. I know this. Seat yourselves to eat according to your births. And he also placed the others according to their births. And he said, I know that this, your youngest brother, has no brother, and I, like him, have no brother. He shall therefore sit down to eat with me. And Benjamin went up before Joseph and sat on the throne. And the men saw the acts of Joseph, and they were astonished at them. And the men ate and drank at that time with Joseph, and then he gave presents to them. And Joseph gave one gift to Benjamin, and Manasseh and Ephraim saw the act of their fathers, and they also gave presents to him. And Azanath gave him one present, and there were 5 presents in the hand of Benjamin. His brothers are in awe. They couldn't imagine how this man knew their ages, how 6 of them came from one man, from one woman, and how Benjamin didn't have a brother there born of the same woman. They were in awe how Benjamin, beloved son of Yacob, was now allowed to sit on the throne and eat with the governor of Egypt. They were in awe how this same governor was now giving them gifts when they themselves came with gifts for him. They were in awe that not only was the governor giving Benjamin gifts, but also his sons and his wife. Of course, Manasseh and Ephraim and Asenath knew how strongly Joseph felt for his little brother Benjamin. They knew of the nights he spent in tears when he spoke of him and his father. They knew of the pain he had gone through and how much joy he must be feeling to once again be reconnected in some form with his family. This was that one connection with his mother Rachel. Joseph was happy, and therefore his sons were happy, and therefore his wife was happy, and they were repeating, they were mimicking the same thing and doing the same thing that Joseph was doing for his brothers. Stay with me, y'all. Stay with me. It's almost done. And Joseph brought them, verse 15, and Joseph brought them out wine to drink, but they could not drink. And they said, from the day on which Joseph was lost, we have not drunk wine, nor eaten any delicacies. And Joseph swore to them, and he pressed them hard, and they drank plentifully with him on that day. And afterward, Joseph turned to his brother Benjamin to speak with him, and Benjamin was still sitting on the throne before Joseph. The Father is going to take you to your throne. And Joseph said to him, have you brought forth any children? And he said, your servant has 10 sons, and these are their names: Bela, Bekar, Ashbel, Gerah, Naaman, Rosh, Mupim, Hupim, and Ard. And I called their names after my brother whom I have not seen. Joseph missed the births of his nephews, as well as the marriage of his little brother. This had to hurt. In this life, we lose out on precious time that can't be replaced, but it can be embraced. I had a conversation on Facebook with one of my family members who were talking about the grandparents, my grandparents on my dad's side that I never knew. I never met them. Okay, I've only heard stories of them. But hearing the stories of them made me love them the more, even though I never had a chance to actually meet them. So Joseph is asking, because he had missed all of his time with his brother, do you have children? Do you have a wife? I need to know. I need you to fill in all the time that we missed. Joel 2:2 says this: so I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten. The crawling locust, the consuming locust, and the chewing locust, whatever locust has come into your life, I will restore whatever they took from you. The great army which I sent among you, you shall eat in plenty and be satisfied. And praise the name of Yahweh your Elohim, who has dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be put to shame. Then you shall know that I am in the midst of Israel. I am in the midst of you, says the Most High. I am Yahweh your Elohim, and there is no other. My people shall never be put to shame. My people shall never be put to shame. This is what the end of that verse says. This is what the end of that verse says in Joel chapter 2. My people shall never be lost, can be regained and restored anew if you trust in the will of the Most High. If you're worrying about what you lost before, if you're worrying about the relationship that you didn't have with your mother, that you didn't have with your father, or that you didn't have with those family members, the Father is saying, I will restore everything to you. Let's see how this continues. It says, and he ordered them to bring before him his map all of the stars, whereby Joseph knew all the times. And Joseph said to Benjamin, I have heard that the Hebrew are acquainted with all wisdom. Do you know anything of this? And Benjamin said, your servant also has knowledge. Listen to what he says. And Benjamin said, your servant also has knowledge in all the wisdom which my father taught me. And Joseph said to Benjamin, look now at this instrument and understand your brother Joseph is in Mitzrayim, who you said went down to Mitzrayim. And Benjamin saw the instrument with the map of the stars of the Shamayim, and he was wise and looked therein to know where his brother was. And Benjamin divided the whole land of Mitzrayim into 4 divisions. He is doing the math now, y'all. He is reading the map. And Benjamin divided the whole land of Mitzrayim into 4 divisions, and he found that he who was sitting on the throne before him was his brother Joseph. And Benjamin wondered greatly. And when Joseph saw that his brother Benjamin was much astonished, he said to Benjamin, what have you seen? And why are you astonished? And Benjamin said to Joseph, I can see by this that Joseph, my brother, sits here with me upon the throne. And Joseph said to him, I am Joseph, your brother. Do not reveal this matter to your brothers. See, I will send you with them when they go away, and I will command them to be brought back again into the city, and I will take you away from them. Joseph was testing Benjamin to see what he would, listen to me, Joseph was testing Benjamin to see what he retained, as he was sure that his father Yacob taught him the same wisdom that he taught him. Okay, if he was going to reveal himself to anyone first, it would be Benjamin, okay, his little brother, who came from the same mother as him. This would also prove that Yacob was rearing him. Yacob was rearing Benjamin, rearing him up to be next in line to lead the tribe, and therefore prove the heart of Benjamin according to his father, without Yacob even physically telling him. So this test that Joseph gave Benjamin was to prove the heart of Benjamin and to prove where he was at with his father. Hallelujah. Benjamin's studies proved him right. And because of it, his eyes are open, and he realizes that his brother, because of it, his eyes are open. His eyes are open, and he realizes that his brother Joseph is actually before him, alive and well, and the governor of Egypt. Benjamin is probably also the only one Joseph feels he can trust to tell his secret, since they were the closest, and Benjamin had done him no wrong. Benjamin had done him no wrong. This is nothing but great wisdom here that the Father is showing us that Joseph is doing. Let's continue. Verse 22, and if they risk their lives and fight for you, then I shall know that they have repented of what they did to me, and I will make myself known to them. But if they forsake you, when I take you, then you shall remain with me, and I will strive with them, and they shall go away, and I will not become known to them. Powerful words from Joseph, right? Joseph is saying, I have one last thing to do. Shalom, shalom. Joseph is saying, I have one last thing to do. I need to really see if they repented from the evil that they did to me. I need to know where their heart is. You have been amongst them all these years, and the Ruach is allowing me to see your heart. But I need to be sure if I can trust my brothers again. If they're willing to risk their life and fight for you. If they are willing to do for you what they weren't willing to do for me, I will know that they are truly repentant. I need to know that the hurt they caused me, the pain they caused me, they are not willing to do that again. You see, we have all been hurt by a family member one time in our life or another. And sometimes we never have gotten the chance to see if they were sorry for the pain they caused. They may not have thrown you into a pit, but they may have left you out to dry when you needed something. They may not have thrown you into slavery, but they may have turned their back on you. Let the Most High speak for you if this is your reality and it's burdening your heart. You're bound. You're still bound up. Joseph continues on and he says, at the time Joseph commanded his officer to fill their sacks with food and put each man's silver into his sack and to put the cup in the sack of Benjamin and to give them food for the journey. And they did so for them. And on the next day, the men rose early in the morning and they loaded their donkeys with grain and they went out with Benjamin. They went toward the land of Canaan with their brother Benjamin. They had not gone far from Mitzrayim when Joseph commanded him that was appointed over his house, saying, rise, pursue these men before they get too far from Mitzrayim, and say to them, why have you stolen my master's cup? Why have you stolen my master's cup? I often wondered about the cup. Why Joseph used a cup instead of a gold disc or a statue or silverware or anything else of extreme value there. Then I researched what the cup actually stood for. It was a symbol of prosperity or of Yahweh's blessing. It also stood for judgment upon the wicked. It also stood for judgment upon the wicked. There was a cup of consolation, cup of salvation, cup of blessing, cup of the master. Paul references the cup of communion over which blessing is said prior to the feast, which commemorates Hamashiach's death and burial. This cup will either lead to the blessing or cursing of Joseph's brothers. Hallelujah. This cup will either lead to the blessing or cursing of Joseph's brothers. Let's continue. And Joseph's officers rose up and he reached them and he spoke to them all the words of Joseph. And when they heard this word, they became exceedingly wroth. And they said, he with whom your master's cup shall be found shall die, and we will also become slaves. Listen, you servant, we already know who we are and we don't steal. Okay, we don't steal. We know it so much. We believe things so much that you can kill any one of us who has it. Okay, because this is not how we present ourselves. This is not how we live. We don't go into somebody's house and take something. And they hurried, and each man brought down his sack from his donkey. And they looked in their bags, and a cup was found in Benjamin's bag, and they all tore their garments, and they turned to the city, and they struck Benjamin on the way, continually striking him until he came into the city, and they stood before Joseph. And Yehuda's wrath was kindled, and he said, this man was only brought me back to destroy Mitzrayim this day. Now, this is Yehuda in his wrath. Yehuda knows that he operates. He has the power of the Most High. Okay. And it says, and the men came to Joseph's house, and they found Joseph sitting on his throne, and all the mighty men standing at his right and left. And Joseph said to them, what is this deed that you have done, that you took away my silver cup and went away? But I know that you took my cup in order to know thereby in what part of the land your brother was. In other words, you took my cup. You saw how I divined the order of your birth. So you took my cup in order to find out where your brother is. And Yehuda said, what shall we say to you, master? What shall we speak, and how shall we justify ourselves? Elohim has this day found the iniquity of all your servants. Therefore, he has done this matter to us this day. Even though Yehuda was angry, he knew he walked in the power and strength of the Most High. He also knew what they had done, and maybe, just maybe, judgment has now caught up to them, and the cup of wrath is upon them. The cup of wrath is upon them. So Yehuda goes from the wrath that he felt that he was going to come in and destroy Egypt, to the fact that, wait, something has clicked now. Maybe, just maybe the Most High is now bringing down judgment because of the sin that we've caused against our brother. We're at the end. This is the end of the chapter, y'all. It says, and Joseph rose up and caught hold of Benjamin and took him from his brothers with violence. And he came to the house and locked the door on them. And Joseph commanded him that was appointed over his house that he should say to them, thus said the king, go in peace to your father. See, I have taken the man in whose hand my cup was found. That's the end of chapter 53. I have taken the hand of the cup. I have taken the hand of the man who stole my cup. Now, let's not forget that what's going on here was planned by Joseph, and Benjamin is a part of it now. Okay? Benjamin knows what's going on. All right? So Benjamin is not afraid. He's not in fear. He's not wondering, because Joseph already told him what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. So there's no need for Benjamin to try to put up a fight. Okay. Now Joseph's brothers had a decision to make. Joseph's brothers have a decision to make. Do they fight for their younger brother Benjamin, or do they walk away from him like they did Joseph and head back to Canaan to break their father's heart by telling him they lost Benjamin? This will be the ultimate test of their faith and truly show Joseph where their heart is. If they're truly repentant, and if he can begin to rebuild a life with them that was halted in their early years. They've lost so much. Benjamin would also have to begin the healing process at the time, as well, as he will find out what really happened to his brother Joseph that caused them to be apart for so long. There are situations that can happen within the family that cause you to either veer away from those that hurt you, or see if there is something there to still be salvaged. Sometimes our most greatest foes lies in the ones we call family. Don't let the hurt, betrayal, abandonment, abuse, neglect cause you to harbor inner feelings that get rooted in hatred because issues weren't dealt with or covered up through miles of separation. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to be free from what binds your heart, your mind, and your spirit. You can have closure and be able to move on without projecting the anger you've been holding on to for a lifetime. This was Joseph's final calling. This was his final act. He has everything now. The prophecies are being fulfilled. His brothers have come to him. They've bowed down to him. But now he needs to find out where their heart is. See, one of the biggest problems is that it wasn't just his brothers that were bound up. It wasn't just his brothers that were bound up. It was him. It was him. Even with everything that he had, even with the armies that he controlled, even with the palace that he lived in, even with the blessing of the children and his wife, even with the favor that he had with Pharaoh, he was still bound up. He was still bound up, and he needed to be released. See, sometimes people try to be released without actually dealing with what first bound them in the first place. You can't do that. You have to address what happened. You have to address what happened. Joseph needed to address what happened. He needed to see the heart of his brothers. He wanted to have a relationship with them. He wanted to love them. He wanted them to be a part of his family. But he needed to know where they were at with him. Will they still treat him the same way? Will they act the same way? Of course, they couldn't treat him the same way anymore because he was now the governor of Egypt. But Egypt is Egypt. And home is home. And sometimes people change when they're home. Sometimes people treat you a different way when they're home. So Joseph was seeking to be free. He was freed from slavery. He was freed from being bound in the prison. And now he just needed his spirit. He just needed his heart. Now he just needed his mindset, because this is all he could think about. Now he needed to be freed from this as well. This is House of B'Nei Ysrayl for the House of B'Nei Ysrayl. We're the children of the Most High dwell. We know who we are. We know who he made us to be. And we are rising from the ashes. Hallelujah. If you're on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Friend us on Facebook and Instagram. Go to www.YHWH4ever3.com and support the store. You see it above me. There's some great things there for you and your family. We're working on becoming the biggest faith-based brand, Hebrew faith-based brand in the world. And if you would like to be a part, the information is in the descriptions. If you'd like to sow a seed, the information is also in the descriptions. Hallelujah. 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 Now may Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. May Yahweh make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. May Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee shalom. Hallelujah. 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 This has been our Wednesday morning brew. If you are joining us for the first time, we do this every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. If you've missed our past Book of Jasher studies, go back on our YouTube page. They're all there. Okay, they're all there. We also have our Shabbat morning brew on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. as well. Join us for that. Hallelujah. 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 So this has been our Shabbat morning brew. This has been our Shabbat. This has been our Wednesday morning brew with your boy House of B'Nei Ysrayl. This is how we start off our day. May this study bless you, and I hope to see you back. I hope to be there for our Shabbat study as well. Hallelujah. 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 All praise, all glory, all honor to the Most High. And as usual, we end off with our boy, Lawrence. Hallelujah. 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 Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom on YouTube. I see you. Shalom, shalom. Love y'all. Shalom, shalom on Instagram. I see you. I love y'all. Shalom, shalom on TikTok, Tumblr, Facebook, and Twitter, LinkedIn. Praise Yah. Hallelujah. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. From Israel to Egypt to Ethiopia to the Sudan nation, we found my father. Have a great day, y'all. I love y'all. It's your boy, House of B'Nei Ysrayl. If you're on Instagram, the replay will be up in about 5 minutes. From the days of Source of Timbuktu, kind of public Sumaru. From a distant place, they try to take our place. Praise Shalom, shalom, y'all. I'm out.